they were in a pretty good shape. And some of the things they gained by this one-click deployment. So you click one place and you have 70 apps in 70 different boxes. You can monitor everything from here. They have a centralized process. And as I mentioned, it's repeatable. And they are also scalable where you can add boxes and just make minor changes in your workflow. And then they also have centralized logging between multiple nodes into your common ARA tool. So I think I'm done. Any questions? UC4 Atomic. So we don't use internally in our office, as I mentioned, other than ARA, we do everything else. So our customers, our product supports UC4, now it's called Atomic. So that has workflow, it has the packaging, and it has a model built in. Yes.
Can this tool can be integrated with any other development tools, whether it is Java or .NET based?
Yes, you can integrate with Java or .NET, and it has plug-in to your Eclipse or .NET Studio, where you can commit from your Eclipse and then add comments. It has integration, so it directly updates your ALM tool. You don't have to log in there and commit. And in your ALM tool, in your story, you can click and you can see all the commits attached to it. You can click and see how many defects are attached to the story. These traceabilities are there. So you can use it for .NET and Java.
How much time it took for creating those test tools for automation, or it was going parallel with the development? Like for that Hong Kong client, which we said that you have automated those scenarios.
Yes. How much time it took to do that? It took close to like 2 months.
So it was going parallel with the development or after the development?
What they did was, they did the reverse. So they were practicing Agile. They first introduced DevOps into their environment. They didn't go left to right. They started DevOps first. So we just gave them UC4 Atomic for the deployment. So they replaced that part because that was the main pain point for them. Then now they are going backwards.
I have one question related to DevOps. It's straightforward when we talk about cloud-based hosting or the services are there in the cloud.
Yeah.
How about like the services which are in the mid-range zone, especially this telecom sector, the operators having their own data centers and developing software in a centralized place like Bangalore and pushing into the data centers across different customers. How would DevOps be helping us? Like, is there a way for us? Because DevOps is something that we are really looking forward to do this in our industry. How to do this for the mid-range zone, which are very secured access?
I think we have to talk offline. I can give you many examples. That's going to be another session because there are challenges. When I did this presentation, right, I presented 3 different DevOps topics this year where there are mixed reaction where some people didn't understand. So I had to keep it very basic. There's advanced DevOps where that is doable because we have our customer DoshPost and Ericsson in Europe. They are able to use all these products and they're able to successfully do. We can talk offline. That's a separate session. And to get more into this DevOps, and if you want to know more details about it, Unicom is organizing another DevOps conference on December 16th, where we are also planning to do some demo there. You guys can come and see that.
As a part of the release automation, do you use a concept of building the images of the entire operating system which is deployable, or it is just the application that you
can do both. You can do both. At least in our product, we package whole thing, including the environment, including JDK, all third-party tools we package. And if you don't want that, if you just want to deploy here, customers typically do that too. So it's again, specific to your environment.
Question here. So the relevance of all this, what we discussed today with Agile.
Yes.
So what I understand is basically because of the shorter sprint cycles,
and we bring in the automation not only on the continuous integration side but also on the deployment side.
Yes.
Is my understanding correct?
Yes. Sure.
Okay. Now, what is it that the Agile project would get by going, adopting DevOps? In fact, if I put it other way, what stops them from adopting DevOps?
Nothing stops them.
Okay. So my thought process is.
To talk offline, I can give you many examples. That's going to be another session because there are challenges. When I did this presentation, right, I presented 3 different DevOps topics this year where there are mixed reaction where some people didn't understand. So I had to keep it very basic. There's advanced DevOps where that is doable because we have our customer Deutsche Post and Ericsson in Europe. They are able to use all these products and they're able to successfully do. We can talk offline. That's a separate session. And to get more into this DevOps, and if you want to know more details about it, Unicom is organizing another DevOps conference on December 16th, where we are also planning to do some demo there. You guys can come and see that.
As a part of the release automation, do you use a concept of building the images of the entire operating system which is deployable, or it is just the application that
you can do both. You can do both. In our product, we package whole thing, including the environment, including JDK, all third-party tools we package. And if you don't want that, if you just want to deploy here, customers typically do that too. So it's again, specific to your environment.
Question here. So the relevance of all this, what we discussed today with Agile.
Yes.
So what I understand is basically because of the shorter sprint cycles, and we bring in the automation not only on the continuous integration side but also on the deployment side.
Yes.
Is my understanding correct?
Yes. Sure.
Okay. Now, what is it that the Agile project would get by going, adopting DevOps? In fact, if I put it other way, what stops them from adopting DevOps?
Nothing stops them.
Okay. So my thought process is coming from an IT service organization. Probably the projects have tight budgets. Okay. So are there open source kind of tools available also for doing the DevOps?
Yes. There are many open source tools available. And if I don't mind, can you say from which company you're from?
I'm from HCL Technologies.
Okay. Okay. Have you heard HCL using TeamForge?
Yeah.
Okay. And some of the services company, I don't want to mention, but let's say HCL is using TeamForge, and I don't think they are using provisioning and DevOps, but Tech Mahindra, who's our another customer, they are using DevOps, and they are using Chef. Chef is open source.
We have also been using CollabNet. So there are a number of projects, and every project has a different configuration. But I don't have information on the details. But still, I'm part of the Agile Center of Excellence. So when we go to projects, generally they have questions around, is there an open source that we can use? So I was coming from that perspective.
Yeah, there are open source you can use. If you go search, there are like at least 10 I can name. Chef, Puppet, combination of many open source you can use. And people typically use some of the products because of the traceability, all those things you miss if you plug in and use multiple open sources. Yeah, you can use open source. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, cool. Thank you.
I think still we have time to go for lunch. Still many people, they have left the room. Are we so hungry today? They would have gone to the other conference room. Correct. Okay. So many might come back. So before they come back and before I start my slide, I would like to tell you one story. I am audible till the last point? Okay. It's a very peculiar story. Many of you must be knowing about this. Still, I am trying to tell it. There was a customer and he had a requirement. The customer was looking for a big fat animal, big black fat animal having 4 legs, 1 small tail and a trunk. So he called some of the companies to fulfill this requirement. And this kind of seminar was going on where the customer set the requirement. And what was the requirement? Can anybody remember? Big black fat animal having 4 legs, small tail and a big trunk. One of the marketing manager was sitting in the room and he got excited by looking at the requirement. The manager said, yes, already I have a prototype of this animal. And somehow, after explaining the prototype, he got the project. And after going back to the company, the marketing manager called their development team and told them, the client has a very simple requirement, buddy. And the good thing is already we have a prototype. The requirement from the client is very simple. They want a big black fat animal having a small tail, 4 legs and a trunk. Good thing is already we have a prototype of a black fat animal having 1 tail, 4 legs. The only thing is we have to create a trunk and plug into the system and we will be able to deliver to the customer. The dev team got it very clearly. They just have to create a plugin and plug into the existing system and deliver it to the customer. So finally the development team, they developed a trunk, they plugged with the existing animal and delivered to the customer. When the delivery team went to the customer site, the customer shocked by seeing the deliverable item. The customer said, no, this is not what I was looking at. I will not take your deliverable. I will not accept this product. The development said, hey boss, this is what we are looking at. You wanted to have a big black fat animal having a small tail, 4 legs and a trunk. This is what we have delivered. Can anybody guess what was in the mind of the customer and what the delivery team delivered? Anybody? Any guesses? Customer wanted elephant and what the team delivered? Buffalo. Theoretically they were wrong or right? They were absolutely right. Theoretically they were absolutely right because both elephant and buffalo, they are big black fat animals having 4 legs, small tail. The only difference between elephant and a buffalo is a trunk. So there was a big debate who is correct and who is wrong. Most of the time when we write something and we understand something, the writer is also right, the reader is also right. But when we implement it, it is totally different. And the biggest problem is because we never create a model of what we are looking at and what we have to deliver. And my topic of this presentation is a new method has come into agile designing that is known as agile model driven development. So I am going to talk about AMDD. Fine? I think now the quorum has back, so I would like to introduce myself. My name is Amit Ranjan. I'm a lean, Kanban and agile expert. I'm a freelance trainer. I'm agile transformation coach. Last 2 years I am doing agile transformation with various companies and doing training on agile across the geography. Short introduction, simple introduction, because agile says keep it short and simple, That's why I love these kind of words. Yes, keep it short and simple. Your introduction, your presentation, your working. It should be short and simple. So I am going to talk about agile model driven development. You know why this model came into the picture? It's due to the mindset of human being. The moment we hear a requirement, all the developers will start writing code in their brain, and the testers will start writing test cases even without knowing the requirement. You know, they heard big fat animal. Half of the people started thinking about elephant, half of the people started thinking about buffalo. They both were right, but the problem was they were far from the reality. And that is where this model came into the picture, saying that whatever you are delivering, first create a model and then start working on that. Okay? So what is the agenda of my discussion? I am going to discuss what is agile modeling, what are the cores of agile modeling, agile design practices, agile design philosophies, design throughout the agile life cycle. You know, normally we think that we have to design before starting of the project and let the design freeze. It's a big wrong thinking. So AMDD says you have to keep modifying your design throughout your development life cycle, applying agile principles and practices in design, and then how architectural design is done in agile. You know, don't think I'm going to take 2 of your hours. You know, it is very short and simple. Okay. So first we will look at what exactly is agile model. Has anybody heard about agile model? Okay, one person. It's very new into agile world. Anybody knows what exactly agile is? Any answers what exactly agile is? Flexible. Good answer. Another answer? Being lean in processes is agile. Okay. Any simple answer? Okay, lots of answers. So 6-7 years back when I moved into agile world, I asked my trainer what exactly is agile. Everybody is talking about agile, agile, agile. What exactly it means? He also gave this kind of technical answers. I said, I'm a newcomer to agile. How can I know? Then he said a simple answer. Suppose you are driving a car at 50 kilometers per hour. Then agile means driving the same car at 100 kilometers per hour without dashing anybody. It should not become a rash driving. So it should be fast, it should be more accurate. If you look at agile technically, it's a combination of 5 methods. Basically, agile is an umbrella under which 5 methods come. And those 5 methods are, anybody can remember? Can anybody tell me? Okay, I'll start with Scrum, XP, Kanban, Lean, Kaizen, XP. Okay, XP already we have said. Crystal. Okay, I'll give the answer. Six Sigma. And Kaizen is one of the methods for continuous improvement. So these 5 methods, they collectively known as Agile. So Agile is an umbrella. So we are going to see how Agile model is going to help whatever method you are applying, whether it could be Scrum, whether it could be extreme programming, whether it could be Lean, whether it could be Six Sigma, whether it could be Kanban. So Agile model is a practice-based process of modeling and documentation. It's a practice-based process. Nobody is saying, okay, do this, do that, and you will get the result. No, it's based on practices, based on values, and then we have evolved a process known as Agile model. Agile model is a collection of practices based on several values and proven software engineering practices. Those practices which we have adopted, they have been proven, they have been practiced long, and once we got the best result out of that, it has been adopted into agile modeling. In our coming slide, I will tell you what are those practices and what are those principles. Then agile model is a light-weighted approach of enhancing modeling and documenting efforts for other software development methods. So it's a light-weighted process of doing what? Of enhancing an existing model and doing a better form of documentation. So if you look at the Agile manifesto, it says working software is more important than comprehensive documentation. So now many people, they misunderstood comprehensive documentation with no documentation. Most of the places where I do agile transformation, people are saying, see, agile talks about no documentation. Unless we have document, how can we do things? How can we remember what I did or what somebody did? I am repeating, agile never says no documentation. It always says no comprehensive documentation. You remember, whenever we purchase a mobile, we used to get a user manual. I want to know how many people they have gone through those user manuals. Can they raise their hands? Only one. So out of pretty odd people, only one person went through the user manual. Nobody goes through those things. These systems, nowadays systems are pretty simple to understandable. You have to play with the system and understand. So Agile says don't do comprehensive documentation. And so they have come up with new methods of writing document. And Agile model is one of the methods of doing your documentation also. Fine. Is it visible? The font is visible? To the last? Okay. So now we will look at what are the core principles of Agile model and core practices. The first core principle is assume simplicity. Make your model. See how Agile model works is, they ask you to create a small model, then keep your model